This is CNN Breaking News.
Yes. Hello. I'm White House Press Secretary Jin Zaki, and good evening to all you folks. Before I take your questions, I just have a few announcements to make. First of all, the President and the First Lady, the President and Dr. First Lady will be traveling to Houston, Texas on Friday following a devastating winter storm and the President's catnap. They'll be accompanied by the first dogs, Champ and Major. And should anyone ask, where's my check/money/stimmy, the President will unleash fire and fury like the world has never seen. Speaking of which, the President has just adopted 2 Rottweilers named Fire and Fury, who will also be attending the President on his visit to Texas. Finally, the President invites all Americans who are currently demanding their stimulus checks to have a conversation with him, as well as his circle and back. And with that, I'd like to take your questions.
Oh, Jen, hello.
Yes, you in front.
Mr. Zeki. So the Washington Post has reported on the new and improved kids in cages that you guys are putting migrant children in. What is the President trying to do to help these kids who are now being forced in cages?
Well, first of all, they're not kids in cages. They're simply holding crates.
Miss Jen, Miss Jen, there are bars on the windows. There are bars in the windows, Miss Jen.
Can I finish? They're holding crates like where you would put a dog or a cat that you love dearly and only want to protect their every basic need. And the President isn't just helping them by protecting them from what would be coyotes, because obviously coyotes are mean, particularly to the little kitties, but he's also giving all of them free ice cream.
Do you know what we mean by being transported by coyotes?
Yes, the coyotes that you see in the wild, like Wiley. He's always going after that roadrunner. For all we know, the roadrunner is a migrant child who's unaccompanied coming up through the southern border.
Well, and your Miss Jen, in your opening statements, Miss Jen.
I'd like to call in other reporters, please, but fine, I'll take this next one from you.
Thank you. Okay, Miss Jen, I've noticed that you've done your hair, and my bank account is $2,000 less than what you guys have been promising us. What is taking so long for you to get me my fucking money?
Well, first of all, I'd like to invite you to, again, talk to Circle and back. And if you have any problems, they will go in your favorite place, which is right up your ass. So come at me again. And I might have to give you a demonstration, perhaps live on TV.
Oh, well, Miss Jen.
Okay, last one.
Okay, Miss Jen, talking about rear ends in somebody's ass. The CDC has just released a statement on guidelines that eating ass twice a day keeps the Rona away. How is the White House and Biden in particular going to be making sure to get this message out to the American people?
Well, first of all, the President and the Dr. First Lady they trust the science. Of course, science is our savior. And if the CDC is telling us to eat ass twice a day, we are going to tell, obviously, every American, particularly the ones who are trying to gain citizenship, that if they want to enter this country and they don't want to get a COVID test, they have to give us a live demonstration before we can let them into the country. So
is that what the kids in cages are for?
No. Completely separate from that. This is specifically people who are coming into the country who are, of course, over the age of 18 and are interested in meeting a certain half Lebanese, half Arkansas individual. He's really our instructor, and he will teach them, obviously, how to do it and how to avoid getting the Rona.
Well,
is that all? Thank you all for your time. And Habibis, welcome to a new Habibi Power Hour.
This is not kids being kept in cages. This is kids. This is a facility that was open that's going to follow the same standards as other HHS facilities.
I'm eager to hear next.
An attack simply on government property at night or any other kind of circumstances is a clear crime and a serious one. I don't know enough about the facts of the example you're talking about, but that's where I draw the line.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What's going on, Habibis? I'm Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Mujahed Kobbe.
And we're the Habibi Bros. Welcome to another episode of Habibi Power Hour. And this was new. This is something we figured we'd try. Literally just, we thought, why not? Who gives a shit, right?
I thought we wanted to entertain the Habibis a little bit more.
Yeah. So welcome, Habibis. Hope you're all having a good evening. When Jay and I were talking about tonight's episode, we were literally thinking of all the ways that we could do something new. And literally talking about ass-eating mandates with the White House press secretary is what our first thought was. So
it's like we came up with that together too. What should we do? Ass-eating mandates with Jinzaki.
Ass-eating Jinzaki.
Jinzaki.
You wanted to call her Jen Yazaki because
Yazaki, yes. And in Arabic, Yazaki, it means like you smartass, you fucking fucktard.
Yeah,
that's when somebody says Yazaki to him. So that's I like calling her Yazaki. Yeah, Sharmuta.
Anyways, Habibis, before we get into the show, since you're all here and now on a more serious note, just wanted to put this out there because obviously our buddy, our Habibi in arms, Fuzzy Dunlop, his mom had a medical emergency. So if you're able to spare a short prayer for him and his family, we greatly appreciate it. Obviously, our heart goes out to him and his family and hope everything goes okay. Still not sure on her status, but obviously we're hoping that whatever that she pulls through. Anyways, Fuzzy's always been one of the original Habibis. He helped create a lot of the new
list memes and
list memes and everything. He's always been a loyal follower. So Fuzzy, we love you, love your family. Hope everything goes okay, and wishing the best for you and your mom. Okay, so kind of getting back into our whole kids in cages, because obviously this is the theme of the week, because of course everyone seems to think that now that Biden's in power, we don't have to worry about kids being sent to concentration camps. So the Washington Post reported earlier this week that dozens of migrant teens boarded vans Monday for the trip down a dusty road to a former man camp for oil field workers. And these were the first migrant child facilities opened under the Biden administration. There are emergency facilities, as they're called in the article.
In the new age of Biden.
They were only open for a month in the summer of 2019, and now they're being reactivated to hold up to 700 children ages between 13 to 17. Okay. Now, if you look at this headline from the Washington Post, and let me go ahead and share the screen for you. This is how it looks right now. It's literally called the first migrant facility for children opens under Biden. If you can, there was a tweet that went out, and I think what's her name, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, her first reaction was, "This is not okay. Never has been okay. Never will be okay, no matter the administration or party." And Jay, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. You had a little viral tweet going out talking about how what's it called? kids in cages or the whatever her reaction was, like the biggest fake outrage of the last 4 years.
Oh, absolutely. I honestly think it was. I think it was over the top, completely fake. And you knew it was fake because of how this was pretty much a lot of it was standard procedure on how they were handling all of these migrant children coming in unaccompanied to the border. And you come to find out the Biden administration is going to do exactly the same thing. So until she gets on a fucking plane and goes cries in front of an empty parking lot, I'm going to say she's full of shit.
Yeah, that's I mean, like everybody noticed that. I noticed it too. That like her and I, of course, you know, if I'm pulling up your little your tweet that went viral because she's standing outside a gate, and this was a photo these are photos taken in 2018 during when she was actually running for Congress, and she beat Joe Crowley in New York. And then the photos were released after she became a member of Congress. I think it was in 2019, I want to say. And almost immediately, because of how she's been handled or perceived by the media, it was immediately lampooned. Like everybody was making memes out of it. And honestly, I mean, like you want to give these people the benefit of the doubt initially, you know, thinking that, you know, not anyone could just like do that, or like most people could like exhibit genuine emotion. But like this, the more you think about it, it's just like the more it becomes, it feels like a photo shoot because of her tepid response now. And I say it's a far cry from what she said, from what she did. Sorry, I had to take off the glasses to put them back on.
Right. I'm sorry. Unless she's going to go like call for Biden to resign and shit like that, I find them to be completely weightless words and completely full of shit. The same thing was going on with
concentration camps. She didn't call them concentration camps this time, did she?
No, she didn't.
She didn't call for Trump to be impeached. Here we go. I found the tweet. This is it. The fakest outrage of the 4 years. Look at that. Doing numbers right there. Good job on you.
I'm surprised after all that time, this still could do those numbers for these pictures. I know. But they're so the reason why is because they are so fucking fake. I don't give a fuck what people are going to come tell me. This is her truth or this is whatever and blah, blah, blah. You don't know what she's really feeling. No, bitch. I know what she's feeling. She's feeling like how this is going to get fucking numbers. This is going to be great to play on emotions and people are going to fucking vote for her. That's what that is. Yeah. And the same thing with Jim Acosta. He only retweeted something. He's going to keep his beat of following Trump around golf courses and not even go to the border this time around.
Yeah, you bring up a good point because this is something that I've noticed, and you were telling me earlier how like you don't count retweets as simply just like covering the story. Like you could normally say, oh, he retweeted about it, therefore he knows about it, but he doesn't care enough about it to write their own tweet. You know what I'm saying? So I think you did a really I think you put it into like a better way. You phrase it better than I ever really could. Is that like just because they retweet something doesn't mean it means they know about it, but they don't care enough to like tweet it about themselves. They just like lazily hand out a retweet and that's it. So if you see someone tweeting about it, if you see someone like tweeting like threads about it, you know, you can tell they like really care about a particular subject, whether they know about it a lot or whether they know a lot about it or not. And I see this happen so many times where you have people in the media, blue checks, just retweet something either. And we don't know like their intent behind it all because like they simply they may not be able to express it. Everybody views retweets differently. But I guess you and I are more cynical about this, thinking that a simple retweet just isn't enough anymore.
Well, especially because of how outraged they were over every little thing that went through the Trump administration. Yeah. I mean, every little thing was an outrage that deserved a 30-tweet thread every what's it called? Every little thing that Trump would say would deserve their own fucking op-ed. They had to write a article about it. Like it went on for days over the same shit.
Yeah.
Now all you got was a couple of retweets, and nobody cares about the fucking kids in cages anymore.
Yeah. So thank you to Shivan Patel.
Thing.
Shivan Patel just sent me a DM of this original tweet from 2019. This is June 18th, 2019. This is what AOC tweeted. Okay. All right. This is a third year of the Trump administration. She says, this administration has established concentration camps on the southern border of the United States for immigrants, where they are being brutalized with dehumanizing conditions and dying. This is not hyperbole. It is the conclusion of expert analysis. So what she's basically saying is the concentration camps are back, baby. They're back in full force.
Absolutely right. And if you support Biden, you support concentration camps and Nazism.
Right. And it's just, I mean, what is she citing? She's citing Esquire of all places. Esquire. Here, let's look at this follow-up tweet. It says, and for the shrieking Republicans who don't know the difference, concentration camps are not the same as death camps. Concentration camps are considered by experts as the quote-unquote mass detention of civilians without trial. And that's exactly what this administration is doing. So you can imagine how interesting the side-by-side is now. And it just shows you that AOC, just like the rest of them, all of them partisan hacks. They don't care about the truth. If they did, they would call it like they see it. And AOC, whether she speaks off the cuff just as much as former President Donald Trump, she's still a politician, and she cares more about keeping power than she does about actually speaking truth to power. So it's a sad situation, because at the very least, we can recognize that kids in cages is a bad thing, and we don't have to care about which. We can react the same way no matter what, and not put on a display or put on a scene like AOC did, because now she has to live up to that standard. And when you live up to that standard, you have to live with it. So I think Steve, who actually we wanted to get on the show this week, unfortunately was a little busy, but we're going to try to get him maybe in the next week or so. I think he basically said on his podcast, like, you basically own it. Once you start calling them concentration camps, they're concentration camps forever. You can't basically go back on that. So
right.
But yeah, I think the frustration. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's a standard set during the Trump administration that if anything below this, over the same thing that will happen under Biden, means you were completely full of shit the last 4 years. Yeah. No, it's true. These people are full of shit, and Democrats and Republicans all full of shit. They only care about power. Big Rage, what's up, Rage? Happy belated birthday to Big Rage. Thank you for the very nice donation. She says, I would love to see her sing. I would love to see her Miranda Sings looking ass try to call these storage boxes concentration camps without worrying about her congressional position. Yeah. Kate says Steez is busy punning Stelter. I bet. Yeah. So anyways, the frustration is growing with President Biden quite a bit. You see, obviously, we were talking in the cold open how they're not, everybody doesn't have their $2,000 stimmy checks. We don't even have our 1,400 ones.
Yeah, I mean, like, all the checks that have currently been sent out to anyone so far, who signed them?
Who?
President Donald Trump. They're signed under his name because because they haven't passed anything since Biden came into office. So the vaccine rollout has still been slow. We talk about it. We've been talking about it quite a bit on the show about how this, whether you're watching the premium episodes or the free episodes, we talked about it on both. That basically this concept of like vaccination equity, and how like you have to vaccinate or inoculate everyone based on like on an equitable way, means you're throwing out tons and tons of vaccines. And we saw the Houston doctor, Dr. Gorkal, who oddly enough is Pakistani, shout out, actually get fired from his job for not wasting 10 vaccines in December and inoculating not only his wife, who has a pulmonary disease, but also 9 of his neighbors and friends. He like rushed to try to get these vaccines in people's arms, or else they're going to be thrown away. And then he got fired, and then he got sued for it.
So sick.
It's the craziest story. No one talks about it. I mean, the New York Times reported on it, and shout out to respect to them, credit to them, despite the fact that the New York Times is kind of a shit show all the time. But I mean, like the fact that they're doing it and it's happening at a nationwide level, like they're denying people the chance to get inoculated. And what is this that we're seeing? Like this story in Florida with Ron DeSantis. They basically framed the exact story as if he's inoculating or prioritizing his donors, his Republican donors, who are basically
Republican voters.
Like basically, like part of a huge Republican bloc. They framed it in a way so that it sounds like he's doing this for political reasons, when really he's just vaccinating old people. And what was it? There were Cubans as well. No, was it not?
Yeah, Cuban survivors, Holocaust survivors. And
Holocaust survivors and people who survived the Castro regime.
Yeah, DeSantis is what's it called? Prioritizing Republican voters, and it's like, hey, wait a minute. Just because old people vote Republican doesn't mean he's prioritizing fucking Republican voters. And it's so sick how they want to try and twist it and make it sound so horrible. And they're like, oh, and he made sure he was in the press. And it's like, while Cuomo was out there killing 11,000 grandmothers, you were there in his press conferences sucking his dick. You guys have no place to sit on, and especially you can sit on my fucking dick, but they have no place, nothing to stand on, because MSNBC is a complete fucking shit show.
Yeah. Los BB, thank you. Los says the stimmy checks are going towards shoving kids inside UPS boxes so they can protest. They can make protest signs for teachers unions and anti-DeSantis PACs.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a lovely comment. But
that's all the news in the last 3 months.
It literally 2.5 lines right there. So all this frustration is growing. And what does President Biden do in the midst of all this? He meets with fucking Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and Trudeau comes through and basically says how U.S. leadership has been sorely missed over the past years. And then the White House has the fucking gall to post this shit. Look at that. How it started, how it's going. That's not the dunk you think it is. That's not the flex you think it is. That is literally going from in person. That's literally going from in person, side by side, shoulder to shoulder, without any mask, to a fucking Zoom conference. Like, sure, maybe that previous photo was from Biden being vice president and not the president. Mm-hmm. And that way, I guess that may be what they're thinking. But like, you think like Zoom conferences and virtual meetings are like a flex? No one wants that shit anymore.
No, they don't. And they don't want that shit, especially with Trudeau. People are like,
yeah.
And to think that having a good relationship with Justin Trudeau like this is some sort of like good standing on the world. I mean, look, fuck these people and fuck the people up in the north. Nothing's going to happen there. Nobody gives a shit. What I really want to understand is, what is he doing right now with leaders in the Middle East? What's going on over there? And it doesn't sound pretty. It doesn't. Just tweeting out a picture over here because, look, Canada is the biggest bitch in the fucking world. They'll bow down to any president that is here in the United States.
Well, they kind of have to. They depend on us more. They need us more than we need them.
Oh, for sure. Because if
essentially
oil, we can just go take their oil. Essentially.
Yeah, we could just cancel the Keystone XL pipeline, and the Canadians will be like, "Oh, sorry, my friend, sorry, buddy." Sorry.
Don't call me buddy, guy.
I'm not your friend, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, friend.
I'm not your friend, pal. Anyway, Sarah Jacobs, thank you. Sarah says, how is Trudeau looking better than our president? It's humiliating. Wow, that is the most anti-American thing, Sarah. How dare you? He is a doctor. That's President Kamala Harris to you. Matt White, thank you, Matt, who's donating $4.20, nice, in Canadian dollars. Says Trudeau is just as bad as Biden. I promise, eh?
I think this means we have to pay him.
Yeah, I think so. We're gonna refund your money, Matt.
For $4.20 Canadian, that comes out to minus $3.
Minus. You actually lose more money from just taking Canadian money than you do on Robinhood investing in GameStop. Which, by the way, Jay, you get in on that GameStop surge today?
No, I did not get on that GameStop surge today.
Oh, well,
I did not.
I did. And it's shooting to the fucking moon. It's great. I love it.
Get it.
Let's go. Baby. Let's go. All right. So next up, we got to highlight how. Huh?
Don't hold. Make sure to sell when you make double your money.
What? Oh, yeah. No, I'm holding. I'm holding forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. So earlier this week, there was some chatter, particularly in conservative circles, about firing Dr. Anthony Fauci. Both Ben Shapiro and Meghan McCain were calling for President Biden to fire Fauci. I mean, specifically, McCain, who is the host of The View, not only says she's over Fauci, but she was talking specifically how she couldn't get a vaccine and kind of sounded a little pretentious, a little whiny. But I'll read her quote. Okay. She says, I think we need to have more people giving more opinions. And honestly, quite frankly, I think the Biden administration should remove him and put someone else in place that maybe does understand science or can talk to other countries about how we can be more like these places that are doing this successfully. She referenced Israel, which again, Israel has a very small population and how they actually have been vaccinated more than half the population. You're just not going to have that here in the United States. But in any event, you also have Ben Shapiro posting a long thread, which I'll show you right here. Literally just says Fauci should be fired. And he goes on to say that he has been down talking the efficacy of vaccines at a time when we need precisely the opposite. He has been mirroring the administration's double talk on school reopenings. He then goes on to say, I gave Fauci the benefit of the doubt for a full year here, but he is simply not an apolitical voice at this point. I'm not saying he's badly motivated. I'm saying that as the top voice for COVID fighting in the U.S., his mixed messaging is harmful. And then he goes on to finish up by saying, note, I didn't say Trump should fire him. In fact, I said precisely the opposite. I'm saying that if the Biden administration's messaging around vaccines has been terrible and Fauci is a major part of that, Biden should can him. So Jay,
the first message under that by some fucking resistance bitch.
Let's pull that up. Competent, distinguished, intelligent, hardworking, compassionate. Yep, everything that Republicans hate. Look at the replies. 2.3.
He's an idiot. I actually tweeted out today that Fauci is actually a public health risk and that he should be fired because he's doing his best to undermine the fucking vaccine. He's coming out every fucking day saying like, yeah, even if you're vaccinated, no, you're still going to have to be locked away at home. You're not going to be able to enjoy your life normally or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, not even anti-vaxxers out there could wish for a better messenger than somebody like Fauci coming out and saying shit like this.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Israel. The reason why they were doing so well too is they said, once you get vaccinated, go out dancing. Everything's going to be normal. Like all of this kind of stuff. That's what the campaign is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Get public wanting this vaccine so they can go back to having everything normal. And to be honest, all this talk about going back to normal life, bitch, I've been back in normal life. Luckily, I don't have children, and it's not the same.
Well, you don't have children yet, and the main reason why is because of the woman behind you, and she's been tied up in your basement.
Not for long.
Tied up in your basement. You realize that's gonna get you canceled right there.
Hopefully.
Take it back.
Look, once you eat an ass, you can never take it back. You can never take it back eating an ass. You can never take it back. Once it happens, it happens. It's not going to happen ever again.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And he's been on mixed messaging on everything since day one. And like Ben, I also advocated for him and defended him under Trump. And I feel like a fucking moron for doing it.
Yeah, I've largely stayed. I largely have not held an opinion on Fauci because I think a lot of things that he said has been harmful. But I realized at the time, hindsight's 2020. If we go back and look at how the pandemic started, I think he gave out a lot of information that he probably was misinformed on, particularly on masks. And of course, we all think about the 15 days to slow the spread. I mean, Jesus, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of that shit.
Right. 1-year anniversary.
Do I think he should be fired? I don't know, but I don't think he should be doing TV hits anymore or media hits. I think he should get a fucking spokesperson who can stick to some fucking talking points and actually has a familiarity with science so they don't come out looking like a complete fucking idiot. But this is what you get when you have, someone who's kind of in love with their own voice and their own image. And I think Fauci's probably gotten to the point where he likes seeing himself on TV a little bit too much. Look, right. I've been on TV too. That shit's exhilarating, okay? When you get off TV, you're getting floods of notifications. People are following you. People are hitting you up in messages. People are texting you saying,
I whack off to it.
You get the occasional hate messages, but after you get off of TV, you get that adrenaline rush. I get it. I understand. Yeah, I understand.
I love whacking off to you on TV.
Thank you. I love whacking off to me too while I'm on TV.
That's
Los, thank you again. Says Habibi money for Game Stonks.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate it. We'll split it between the two of us. $250 each. But what's interesting is that in light of all this Fauci stuff, obviously Trump, said Trump, I meant to say Biden. President Biden is still trying to do some onboarding. Wow. It's literally comparing.
You 100% still got him on your mind.
Essentially.
You just can't quit him.
I just missed the thrill of Trump. Just missed it. Just missed that thrill. I missed that thrill up my leg when I see Trump come on the screen. So, but Merrick Garland, he's going through his confirmation hearings. He's actually going to be the likely. There's bipartisan support for him, so he's likely going to be the next attorney general. But there was this interesting exchange between Senator Josh Hawley, who we're not really big fans of, but he asked an important question of Merrick Garland. This is what the exchange was.
Let me ask you about assaults on federal property in places other than Washington, D.C., Portland, for instance, Seattle. Do you regard assaults on federal courthouses or other federal property as acts of domestic extremism, domestic terrorism?
Well, Senator, my own definition, which is about the same as the statutory definition, is the use of violence or threats of violence in an attempt to disrupt democratic processes. So an attack on a courthouse while in operation, trying to prevent judges from actually deciding cases, that plainly is domestic extremism, domestic terrorism. An attack simply on government property at night or any other kind of circumstances is a clear crime and a serious one and should be punished. I don't know enough about the facts of the example you're talking about, but that's where I draw the line. One is both are criminal. But one is a core attack on our democratic institutions.
All right. So what you saw there, it seemed like he obviously was referencing the attacks in Portland, Oregon over the summer of 2020 on the federal courthouse. And what we're seeing is that it sounds like it's okay if he's the attorney general that you could just go ahead and fucking do that. I think, Jay, you put up a pretty funny tweet and also pretty savage about how if you just told your uncles at night that
to fly the planes at night,
fly the planes, that you would it wouldn't be considered a terrorist attack.
Terrorism,
so,
yeah.
because that's kind of the logical explanation that what's his name is giving, Merrick Garland is giving. Like, just because it happened at night and no one was in the building, is it really a terrorist attack? Like, yes, it fucking is.
It kind of is. And I like how he was talking about one was an attack on our institutions, one is whatever. And the thing is, they're attacking a federal building on purpose because it's a federal building. That's why
it's literally an institution.
Essentially,
100%. It is essentially 100% an institution.
It really is. And I feel like when these type of people give that kind of answer to Antifa, it's like a Republican giving an answer. They have no idea what QAnon is. It's a bullshit answer. Of course they know what this is. Of course they've seen it in the news. Of course they've read about it. Of course they've seen it somewhere. They can't say that they don't know. It's a cop out. It's 100%, 100% a cop out.
Essentially. It is a cop out, and it's unfortunate that we've come to this point where, like, we're now, politics has poisoned the well so much that we're literally trying to delineate or find the differences or distinguish between what is and what isn't a terrorist attack. Like, there's so many justifications over the course of summer 2020 that destroying property is not like considered part of a riot, or it's not considered
criminal.
It's not criminal because insurance companies can just pay those out for the losses. Like, you look at Minnesota, you look at Minneapolis, the riots that sprouted up following the death of George Floyd. Of course there were peaceful protests, but of course there were what they say, there was a Hill tweet, I think, or some study that found that like 93% of the protests were peaceful. It means 7%, which is what we saw over the course of the summer, were all violent. 100% of the 7% were violent, essentially.
Essentially. Well, the thing is, what you can say to that as well is that 99% of Trump rallies were all peaceful. And then you get that 1% of the insurrection that was unpeaceful.
Right.
And we're not trying to say it like that.
We're not trying to broad brush and generalize the protests that were peaceful. We understand that there were peaceful protests over the course of the summer. There absolutely were peaceful protests over the summer. But the peaceful protesters did not do themselves a favor by denouncing the violent rioters at the time. They waited until, what was it, like September, early September? If you remember that CNN, that little CNN segment with Don Lemon talking to Chris Cuomo about how polling is no longer favoring the protests and the riots. So then all the Democrats started denouncing it and started condemning it. You had Nancy Pelosi, you had Kamala Harris, you had Joe Biden all denounce it. And obviously, we could see through that shit. It's not like we were born fucking yesterday when that happened. We knew full well you guys. There were Democrats who were literally, like Kamala Harris, our vice president, right now, putting out links for the Minnesota Freedom Fund and how they were bailing out people who were not even part of the riots. They were bailing out people who were accused of murder, people who were accused of attempted murder, people who were accused of domestic violence and rape, stuff that has nothing to do with the riots. Right.
And it's the same thing with these fucking celebrities and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
people cheering it on
it,
thinking like it was something good. This is the dumbest thing that I think happened during the riots and stuff, and people cheering it on like it was some righteous act for them to do is bail these people out and cheer these things on, while the people who are actually really suffering are black owned businesses and also people who are not that well off. I mean, I think it's something like it's going to take 20 to 30 years for some of these neighborhoods to recover economically.
And by that time, we'll all be dead from climate change.
We already died at 2014.
That's true. We already did die. R.I.P. and peace to us.
Yes, Al Gore was right.
Yeah, at least we're back in the Paris Climate Accord, right? Right, Jay?
Oh, thank God. And you know what's really funny? When John Kerry was running first, I think he was saying that we had like 10 years before it's like irreversible. We're all going to die.
Oh,
now
yeah,
he's like, we have
2004.
9. Now we have 9 years before we're all going to die and shit. And it's
Yeah.
like, shut the fuck up. You guys are all fucking just like doomsday worshipers. It's fucking, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think people can tell when I get a little drunk because we go on tangents.
It's okay, but at least you're not going on a tandem. Neera Tanden. Ooh, look how I brought that up. Neera Tanden, who is actually the nominee to be Biden's director of the Office of Management and Budget. It looks like her nomination is in dire straits. Now, what I mean by that is Joe Manchin, who, while he is not the Senate Majority Leader, is basically the Senate Majority Leader, considering that he is a swing Democratic vote. He is basically suggesting he's not going to vote to approve the nomination or confirmation of Neera Tanden. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Neera Tanden, she is the former president of the Center for American Progress, or maybe she is no longer. I don't know. Anyways, she served there for many years. She's an acolyte of Hillary Clinton. She called me an incel once on Twitter when I put her on the list.
Well, that was truthful.
I mean, it is truthful, but I just got to point out one particular bit. And this, I bring this up because, and I think Faye Beebe's in. Yeah, Faye Beebe's up in the house.
She is.
This may be the best thing I've ever seen in response to anything relating to this whole Neera Tanden business. And I'll just show you right here. So you have, let me go to the actual tweet because it deserves the love and recognition it should get. And hold on, let me take this off. Because again, for one, congratulations to Faye for becoming Habibi of the Week for this. And there's a reason why. And it's a deserved reason because I don't know how you dunk on Eric Swalwell this hard. And then Swalwell comes out alive. So this is the Eric Swalwell tweet. Okay. He said, so now this news reports, or at least they tweet out, Senate moderates are likely to sink Neera Tanden's nomination over controversial tweets. And some say there's a double standard. This is what Eric Swalwell says. He says, I represent one of the largest Indian American districts in the U.S. How do I look at what's happening to Neera Tanden and tell little girls of South Asian descent that they'll have the same opportunities in life as white men? The answer, I can't. And that's a shame. And then here comes Faye with a fucking haymaker, 360 windmill dunk that's heard around the world saying, Eric, rest assured that nobody can ever question your commitment to giving Asian girls plenty of quote unquote opportunities. God damn, hey, we are not worthy. Hold on 1 second.
We're not worthy.
We're not worthy.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
We are not worthy, Faye. Holy shit, that is God damn.
So good.
Faye, Habibi of the Week. Habibti of the Week. That was the most savage thing I probably have ever seen from one of the Habibis. Even more savage than Jay. I will say this. Jay, she out-savaged us.
She did. I need to up my game. I mean, yeah. I've been getting kind of ranchy and stuff, but that was just like without being too vulgar, without being anything.
That was so surgical.
It was so good. Absolutely perfect.
So congrats to you, Faye. We'll send you a gift basket. Well, I actually do owe you a gift basket anyways. So Neera Tanden is looking like she's not going to be the OMB director, but the Biden administration is saying they're going to put her in a position that's not Senate confirmed. I just love how like Neera Tanden's own Twitter is what's going to be what dooms her. Like,
well, we had President Trump.
Yeah, like what's so great about it is like, yeah, like sure, maybe there is a double standard, but like Nira did this to herself. Like Trump's tweets only helped him until it didn't, which is when the January 6th riot.
Why Biden's now president?
Yeah. So basically you live by the tweets, you die by the tweets. And in this case,
yes.
Nira Tanden, you live by the tweets, you die by the tweets. The tweets that you put out, you basically look, if I were ever up for a cabinet position or any Senate confirmed position, I'd delete my entire Twitter right away.
Oh, before I even announce that I'm running.
But you know what I would do?
I
would do that if I were smart. But since I'm not, I would leave it up because I think it should be a matter of public record. And I want to see it. I want everyone to see my tweets. And I don't give a shit if I don't get the job. In fact, I'll decline the job right away because fuck the government. Anyway.
Well, the funny thing is, my original one as Mujahed Kobbe is banned. So the thing is, they're never going to know. They'll be like, oh, his Twitter account was suspended this whole time. I'll be like, yeah, it was. Even though I told you I was going to eat your mom's ass. But the most amazing thing here is how journalists are trying to portray this as it's because she is a person of color and a woman that she's not going to get the nomination.
Right.
It's absolutely beautiful. It's so beautiful. Sexist, racist.
I'm leaving up the tweet right now.
That's not true.
I'm leaving up the tweet right now. So Habibis, if you want to follow Faye, you can follow her at FAYE. Did I say that right? FAYEH 321. Sorry, I'm feeling like dyslexic. I can't spell. So yeah,
this is what happens when you have one beer.
Wow.
I'm drinking half a bottle of fucking bourbon. You're drinking one beer, and we're about the same level of drunk.
Will you just shut the fuck up? just shut the fuck up. Don't come at me like that. Anyway,
I'll come on you like that.
Yeah, please do. I love that. Okay, a more serious topic, something that actually probably doesn't get enough attention, but we constantly talk about it because it's important to us, and that's on the Uyghur genocide happening in Xinjiang, China. Now, Foreign Policy, the publication, they put out an article titled State Department Lawyers Concluded Insufficient Evidence to Prove Genocide in China, with a subheader reading, despite the Trump administration's declaration of a genocide in Xinjiang, upheld by the Biden administration, some legal experts suspect China's behavior may fall short of an actual genocide. So they're continuing on with this fucking line that just because they're not seeing bodies all over the place, that it doesn't meet the definition of a genocide, knowing full well that we don't have any of the information. We don't have a good handle on a lot of the information coming out of China simply because China is really good at controlling what information goes out. There have been leaks here and there. Obviously, we see drone footage. We have witness accounts, people who used to actually be in the re-education camps or these modern day concentration camps, detailing their harrowing stories, particularly the women who have been sexually abused, who have basically had forced abortions, horrific shit, stuff that never wish on them, even on my worst enemy. And so the fact that we're now talking about this distinction about what is and what isn't a genocide is frankly sickening, because we were literally talking at the beginning of the show how AOC was calling the migrant facilities that Biden calls them now, she was calling them concentration camps in 2019. So like, what the fuck is going on? Nothing makes any sense. And it sounds like either they're trying to avoid strong talk with China, which just proves our point that Biden was never really going to stand up to China in the first place, because he's either bought out by them, or he fears them, or he wants to just bend the knee to Xi Jinping. Right,
and I think he does. And there's a lot of people in journalism that also want to bend over for Xi. And it's not journalists themselves, although they're very complicit with it and knowing the inner workings of it. But the New York Times, Washington Post, a lot of these journalistic institutions don't go off on these atrocities that Xi is doing, because they don't want to lose that market.
Yeah,
it's all about the money that comes into it. Yeah. So a lot of the
time, all about suckling on the Chinese teat because of the
exactly right
they got.
So they see this actual genocide happening in China, just shows you that how fucking fake they were throughout the whole four years of the Trump administration. Trump said it's Trump administration said it's a genocide. It is a genocide. You have these people coming out and telling you their stories. Why is it that we cannot say that this is their truth when they have the facts fucking backing it up? But when somebody comes and says that Kavanaugh is a leader of a trained rape gang, we have to say we have to believe her truth.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense, and all of it is fucking complete bullshit.
Full of shit. So
we say never again. Like, this is a literal never again situation. This happening right now is what you can compare to the Holocaust and what you can say never again to without sounding like a complete fucking moron when you're saying that migrant children held in facilities is like the Holocaust and shit like that. No, this is like the Holocaust. We are in a never again moment, and we're fucking screwing it up.
It is the closest I think we've ever come to a modern day Holocaust happening. And that's the sad thing, is that you feel powerless because there is literally nothing that you and I can really do that would have any remote impact besides just speaking out about it. So Big Rage, thank you for the super chat, saying, I'm so happy you continue to bring this up because there aren't enough journalists that bring this up, and they need to bring attention to this. This is why I follow you, Siraj and Jay. Thank you, Big Rage. Appreciate that. So we'll continue to follow the story, but the fact that they're constantly debating what is and what isn't a genocide. I think last week I put The Economist at number 1 on the list for the last week because they simply had that line about how the Biden administration should call whatever is happening in Xinjiang something accurately, meaning not a genocide. So just making that suggestion makes it sound like The Economist is basically bought and paid for by the Chinese Communist Party. And they deserve to have their fucking phone taken away. And just the fact that they continue
their publications, their whole account, like everything needs to be taken away. Yeah.
It's just the fact that they continue to have a major platform, particularly a lot of the Chinese entities, despite the fact that they banned Twitter in China. You have the Chinese embassy in the U.S. saying how, in the beginning of the year, they're saying how whatever they were doing at the re-education camps made them no longer, and I quote, they called the women, the Uyghur women, literally baby making machines. Who the fuck does that? If you're not talking about, if it's not about eugenics, then what the fuck is it about? If it's not about genocide, what is it about? Because it's about culture. I think people have a very narrow definition of what they think genocide is. Ultimately, genocide is you're trying to wipe out an entire gene pool. How do you do that? You either do it through killing them, or you make it so that if they are all sterile, they can't reproduce and they'll eventually all die out. That's technically a genocide. So what the fuck are you guys on about? It just doesn't make any sense. And it shows how fucking ghoulish some of these policy experts and unelected bureaucrats are to simply spin a story or spin a narrative or spin literally the truth to try to fit within their own agenda. Jake sending $15. I think it was I don't know if he sent a
sticker.
Let's check to see if he sent a follow-up. But thank you for the $15. Chris Kinder, thank you for the $5. Did I miss some new Governor Cuomo news today? We are going to talk about Cuomo on the next episode on our premium this weekend because we want to see how this stuff shakes out. This stuff literally broke today. I prepared the show late last night, and I wanted to ensure that Jay and I had a firm handle on all this stuff. So we'll be talking about it probably in the preview of the next show. So you at least will get to hear it if you don't already subscribe. But I know, Chris, you actually sub, so you'll probably get to hear it next show. Matt, thank you for the 69 Canadian dollars. I'm sorry, $6.90.
Are you trying to make us go broke? This is another minus $2.
$6.90 Canadian are actually $69. It would have been $69 in American, but because he's Canadian, He's actually costing us $69
in American.
Yeah, Jake B, thank you again for the $5. You're literally just sending us money right now. Anyways, let's see, what time is it? 10:55. You know what I think it is? I think it's time for the urn.
For some urn. Go get some, and I'll read some of the questions. That's exactly what it means, Damien. It means that we owe Matt money now. Oh, Jake, we will be all the time, and I'll try to tweet it more often as I can. Then there's genocide, where you circle back on entire populations. Anthony and Phoebe, I'm doing fabulous, especially after half a bottle of bourbon. I mean, you should ask your mom how I am after a full bottle of bourbon.
Here he is. The urn. What's up, buddy? Here we go. Let's go.
Chris.
What's up?
No, Chris, he's like, give me my money back. I just sent in. I'm paid up on Patreon. Kidding, maybe.
Oh. Let's see. Okay. Did I miss something else? Did I miss any of the super chats?
Nate, I'm trying to read them out loud.
Carlos says, then there's genocide, where you circle back on an entire population of citizens. Jesus. Okay. Now let's hit up the last few topics before we get to our favorite segment, which is coming up in a few. Anyways, there is another weird story that's happening. CPAC. So CPAC 2021 is happening this week in Orlando, Florida. I will not be there because I'm here in DC, and obviously there's no real reason for me to go. But there was an interesting story that came up in Axios. And Axios reported that Trump, former President Donald Trump, is going to declare that he is basically the nominee for 2024. Now, I don't know how true that is. It's based on one source, an unnamed source at that, and whether he's basically saying, I'm still in charge of the party. Jim Jordan, congressman from Ohio, who may or may not run for Senate, basically saying that Trump is still the leader of the Republican Party. I still think that's the case, where Trump is the kingmaker. I mean, if you take Trump out, who is there to take his place? And right now, there really isn't anybody. So, I mean, I think you and I both know that that Trump is going to run in 2024. And I think there is sort of a push, a drive within certain media circles to want to talk about Trump still because their ratings have tanked. There is basically, I feel like, you saw that one Atlantic article we talked about, we referenced it earlier, how one reporter literally wrote the headline, I miss the thrill of Trump. This is just every single journalist. Every single journalist just misses him.
Right. They do. And they miss the fame that came with it. They were the pretend heroes of the last 4 years. The Jim Acostas and the fucking Yamachis and all that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. They are the complete fucking heroes that saved democracy and saved America. And without Trump, the fuck are they? You have Jim Acosta running around looking for Trump in a fucking golf course. The fuck? Yeah, that's a big downgrade.
Yeah, like what do you do? What do you do when you don't have someone to oppose you in every single way? Like they found their purpose. The journalists found their purpose in basically defying Trump because they couldn't, doing their jobs got too boring. So what did they end up doing?
Well, it's also because
they became fucking activists instead.
Right. And somebody had a good they had a good tweet about it. I forget who it was. I think it was Luke Thompson, and he was talking about how journalism has gone from being people who are liberal, who are journalists, who are liberal activists who are journalists.
Mhm.
And that's what we saw, and that's what we are seeing happening year on year on year.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at like somebody like a Maggie Haberman, like you see her as a liberal journalist. Now, with the environment that's in there, with the TikTok Taylors and the fucking Nicole Hannah-Jones and the fucking those type of people who are now the leaders of the New York Times, it's all about activism.
Mm-hmm.
There's no objective journalism anymore. You
Yeah.
have to push your politics in the story, or you're a piece of shit. And
Yeah.
you see that with their reporting. They lie. They fucking lie. And they're caught on their lies and nothing happens.
Yeah, well, the thing is that they also, and I feel like, outrage and cancel culture drives a lot of these journalists to do what they do, because if they don't do exactly what, like the left woke mob wants them to do, and I mean mob in like the very generic terms, like not an actual mob, but literally angry people online, that if they don't do what they want them to do, they're going to get their career, they're going to get their name dragged through the mud, their reputation ruined. They're basically going to be called shills for the same people, for the people that they're covering. I mean, just remember a particular exchange between Jonathan Swan of Axios sitting down with the president of the United States, talking about how Trump wanted to do away with birthright citizenship. And this was like one of his earlier interviews. It wasn't like the last one he did with Trump in the White House. This was one of those things where he got really excited that he knew what birthright citizenship was, because Jonathan Swan's Australian, and maybe just because he was right. Maybe he felt, maybe based on his source reporting, he knew like that he got like his sources were right, or that he was happy that they were right, or something like that. And like everyone started calling him like basically a shill for Trump, because he looked like so happy and excited to be like, yeah, I got like part of my intuition was right on this. And asking the president paid off. He answered it. And so like everybody is just like calling him a shill. Like, why would you then want to go into like objective reporting if you're not basically defying the commander in chief of the opposite party all the time? Like there's no incentive to do it. There really isn't. Like people only want to do it. Jay, are you literally just posting thirst traps in the background the entire time?
Sorry, what?
I mean Trump, of course.
Oh, that's who you meant.
That thick boy. Come on, I want to see more of that juice. That juicy. I want to see him wearing those juicy couture pants, those juicy couture sweatpants.
The juicy couture sweatpants. Man, that would be crazy.
Yeah. So this is just back to obviously about the point about CPAC and Trump trying to claim control of the GOP. Like Democrats and the media desperately need a villain, so they need Trump back, because if he's not back, their ratings go down. A bunch of people are going to be out of jobs, and their whole industry will basically suffer.
Right, and you're gonna see a lot of these people start upplaying Trump again, like they did when he was running the first time. You had like Brian, what's his name? He's this leftist fucking journalist.
Stelter?
Brian something. No, not Stelter. Stelter is a piece of shit. I shit in the morning. He's not. I don't consider him a person. But this other guy is Brian something, and he wrote an article talking about how Trump would be the most moderate Republican, and that it would be great if Trump actually became the Republican nominee and president. I forget his name, but a lot of people wrote these type of articles, and we're going to start seeing that type of rhetoric come back into play the closer we get to 2024. I bet you anything, if that happens, In my eyes, I want.
Was it Brian Karam, the Playboy guy?
No, not the Playboy guy.
No.
Sorry, not the Playboy. Brian.
What is it, bud? Good. It's okay.
I'll try. I'll try to find it.
Just another CPAC story that's kind of interesting is that so the theme of CPAC this year is called America Uncanceled. And so what ended up happening was I think it was Media Matters that reported this. And we don't like Media Matters, but this is an interesting story and probably worth talking about. And that was this basically this panelist who was brought on to talk about, I don't know, I think underserved communities. I can't remember the exact name of the panel he was going to be on, but his name is Young Pharaoh, and he's an online commentator who has called Judaism a complete lie and claimed that all the censorship and social media platforms are controlled by CCP and Israel through Jewish CEO and corrupt Democrats. That is the full quote. Apparently this guy, Young Pharaoh, is a rapper. He was removed from the program, and he later confirmed that he was cut from his Saturday appearance, and because he repeated several anti-Semitic claims, and said he was basically being censored. So obviously, kind of interesting how this is all turned around. Of course, I tweeted about how basically the Jews now have 2, and Pharaoh has 0.
0. That was the perfect tweet for that. Absolutely fucking hilarious. That was so good. And I've never heard about this nut.
I never heard about him
well. What this absolute fucking crazy.
It's just quite delicious to see the theme of CPAC being America Uncanceled, and one of their speakers get canceled for being too extreme. So anyway, speaking of getting canceled, everybody, you remember Alexei Navalny or Alexander Navalny? I think it's Alex Navalny. I can't remember his full name.
I think it's Alex Navalny.
Alex Navalny. Anyways, Amnesty International, particularly their UK station, they put out a statement, essentially
100%.
saying that they're withdrawing their designation of Navalny as a quote-unquote prisoner of conscience. In an email, Amnesty says it's no longer able to consider Alexei Navalny a prisoner of conscience given the fact that he advocated violence and discrimination, and he has not retracted such statements. And I'll just post the little statement for you guys right here. You can see in bold here saying Amnesty, basically exactly what I just said. But the fucking beauty of this, and I obviously don't mean beauty and like it's good, but just the fact that like this is literally something that no one gives a shit about. But the fact that he is a political prisoner under Vladimir Putin should give everyone pause, because he was simply an opposition leader. Regardless of his views, the guy did not, for all we know, he didn't kill anybody. He certainly did. But apparently him advocating violence and discrimination, I don't even know what comments he's talking about or what Amnesty is talking about, but the fact that they will no longer,
they don't even post
his freedom so they can challenge his views. I mean, like, it's just like people say that cancel culture doesn't exist, and you just show them this, and it's just like, really though? Like, people literally get their panties up in a bunch over the dumbest shit. And just because this man is in prison, he can't retract those statements because he's in fucking prison.
It's insane. It's fucking stupid as hell. And like, and what are they thinking this is making them look like? Like, it's making them look like good woke people? I don't get it. At least let us know. It is. What the fuck did he say? What was it? This is the worst type of like, oh, we found tweets that you made when you were 16 years old. This is the worst actual part of it. And I really don't understand where they think they're coming from.
Yeah, this is good. Captain Freejack says he forgot to put pronouns in his bio. Oh my god, that's so good. So yeah, Navalny's getting the shaft, and not the good kind of shaft, obviously, the one that Jay gives me next time I see him, but the bad kind.
Make
so
sure it's nice and shiny.
Before we get to our like AMA or Ask Us Anything, I'm sorry, AUA. First of all, Tiger Woods was involved in a single car accident this week. Obviously, my heart dropped when I heard that. I'm thinking, like, holy shit, we have another Kobe moment. Thankfully, he's going to make it. He is going to be okay. He did suffer a compound leg fracture, which, if you're familiar with that, is not fun at all.
No.
And he shattered his ankle in the rollover crash. He was probably not going to play this year at all because of he recently had back surgery. But still, you fear for the guy who gets into a single car accident and it's, somehow he makes it out of it alive with obviously pretty serious injuries, but not life-threatening injuries. So hearts go out to Tiger Woods. Obviously, I don't know if anyone can really call him a role model, but he certainly is a phenomenal golfer. And sure, he's a flawed human being. Of course, who isn't?
Right. We all are.
But there was some chatter that I saw that was kind of weird. And I didn't see this from many prominent accounts, I think, because a lot of people still have a lot of respect for Tiger. But particularly the trolls trying to say that this was deserved because he accepted a Congressional Medal of Freedom from former President Trump. And I was just like, really? You're going to make that? Like, you're going to make that strike? Like, you're going to make that jab right now? Like, the man could have died.
It's absolutely fucking horrible. It's so disgusting that's what the first thing that these people would go to and think of. It's sick. It really is. And it's very, very sad that anything that had to do with Trump. I mean, this also brings back to this makes me think of Van Jones as well. And Ana Navarro that tried to come out and say shit against him because he worked with Trump to try to get fucking people out of fucking jail. Like, get your head out of your fucking ass. That doesn't make you look like a good person.
Yeah.
Just because Trump was a part of this person's life or did a little something with Trump doesn't mean he deserves to fucking die or get canceled or get into a car accident. It's so sick. It's sad. It's very, very sad.
Oh, shit. Nate Beebe says Tiger Woods role model. Really, Siraj? Oh, fuck. I didn't even realize. I mean, I guess we could joke about it now, knowing that he's gonna be okay, whether his career,
right?
But shit, that's how
that reminds me of a tweet that happened as well. Somebody tweeted out a fake tweet of Tiger saying that he has information that could lead to Hillary Clinton's arrest.
Oh yeah, dude, that was so fucking wild. It's so bad. So bad, so good. Anyways, we hope he has a speedy recovery, and that he pulls through okay, and that he gets back onto the golf course because for someone of his talent, you really do hate to see it. And look, I've certainly made criticisms of Tiger in the past, but like he is very much a joy to watch on the golf course. So
no, he is, and him. And Kobe and like Roger Federer, like I'm talking about like these the
greats, the pantheon,
the fucking greats. These guys will always and forever be fucking role models, almost no matter what, because they will inspire people to try to be better than they are.
Yeah. Anyways. Before we go on to our Ask Us Anything segment, just have a little shout out for our patrons who have signed up for Habibi Gold and Platinum. I'm going to go from our gold first. We got George Andrews. Thank you, George. Abe Eckstein. Thank you, Abe. Jeremy Redfern. Thank you, Jeremy. Max Toscano. Thank you, Max. Chris Kinder. Thank you, Chris. And then Faye Beebe, Faye Hosendorf. Thank you, Faye Beebe, for
Thank you, Fabi.
You're the best.
Thank you.
For our Habibi Platinums, we got Bike Practicer. Thank you, Bike. I actually messaged you asking because you can play video games with us, trying to get your schedule. Hit us up. Anthony Rivera. Thank you, Anthony. Shom Puttigai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, if you can't pronounce that last name right, that's fucking.
Well, this is how it's spelled. It's Puth, like Charlie Puth, and then Igai. And I was tempted to say Putty Gay.
Well, if I was reading these out, I would. So the reason why I'm not reading these out is because we don't want to offend any one of you guys. Because I would probably 100% say all your names wrong.
Yeah, essentially. We also have Andrea Kittel. Thank you, Andrea. Oh, the top Malloy. I think goes by Eric, but thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Oh, the top and Andrea. And then William Widmer Jr. Thank you, William. We appreciate all of your support to our gold and platinum Habibis. Thank you for supporting us and getting us on our way to being independent. The beauty of this is that once we get to a point where we are no longer needing our full-time jobs, you help us make sure we don't get canceled and basicing we're able to feed thick boys like Ernie and thick boys like Jay and being able to support our families. So thank you so much. Now, Habibis, I'd like to get to our favorite segment, which is Ask Us Anything. So Habibis, send those questions in. Let's hear it. We got a few minutes left. And just go ahead and shoot us a line. Let me go see here.
Oh, and also, if any of the gold or platinum Habibis have any topics they would like us to cover or any topics they request, you can hit us up on our Patreon.
Yeah, we're on. I respond to all the Patreon messages, so just go ahead and hit us up. Christian Velasquez, what are your thoughts on the MTG Marie Newman Twitter fight? It's fucking stupid. It shows us like we're in fucking Congress's high school. No one gives a shit about this stuff. It's all rhetoric. It's literally talking about the dumbest shit.
It really is.
Like, it's not even the debate worth having. Like, why can't they just fucking do your jobs? No one gives a shit about this. It's literally like this is what happens when you strip MTG of all her committee assignments. She has literally too much time on her hands.
100%.
Well, she also took the bait too. Marie Newman started it. She put like a Trans Lives Matter flag outside her office across from MTG's office, and so she'd have to look at it every day. And then MTG took the bait by posting the poster outside hers saying that like there are only two genders, trust the science or some shit like that. It's all stupid. It's high school bullshit. Looks like they really don't have any level of professionalism at all. So, whatever, it's stupid. Nolan says, Siraj, when are you taking a second wife so you can get denied sex twice as often? Oh, Jesus, Nolan. God damn.
That's too good.
Eric, thank you, Eric. Says, did Jay say he lives in Orange County, California? If so, has he signed the recall petition or for some poke from Bear Flag Fish Company? Jay?
I don't know what. No, he's saying or for some pokey. I think he's saying for some pokey.
Pokey?
Pokey. You know pokey? Do you guys have pokey out in the East Coast?
Yeah, we got pokey out here.
I'm just asking. You guys live a completely different life out there.
That's true.
And yes, Eric. Yes, I did. Although, I mean, even though he is going to get recalled, and we do have the signatures, and they are surprisingly calling for verification of the signatures here in California, which is fucking hilarious. I don't think anything's going to come out of it, but at least it's going to be a stain on his fucking slut face.
Did you see his slut face?
I said slut face. He's a fucking. He has a slut face. He's such a piece of shit. I hate him. I hate him with a passion.
Anthony Rivera says, do you guys see the GOP using incompetence of the Biden administration to win big in 2022, or will they drop the ball like they often do? Democrats are actually in trouble in 2022 because Republicans actually have a pretty, I want to say, advantageous map that year. House, I think they could probably reclaim the House. Look, every single time, and this is just historically the trend, is that any time an administration comes into power, the party in power loses majority of the House and Senate the very next midterm election. So I'm going to go with history on this one and say that both Democrats, I think that both House and Senate will be lost by Democrats to Republicans. And you'll basically have gridlock in Washington, kind of like you do right now, except Democrats pretend like they have some sort of like political capital and suggesting that like they are going to like enact all sorts of change. They're going to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. They're going to give $2,000 stimulus checks to everyone. They ain't going to do fucking shit. It's all going to be. It's all what is it?
It's all talk. It's all a big game.
Yeah,
they're talking a big game.
Like they don't give a shit. They just want to claim the moral high ground, treat everyone who doesn't agree with them as evil, and then if we're lucky enough, they'll set up fucking truth and reconciliation commissions and tribunals and basically try everyone and basically bring about the Second Patriot Act to spy on anyone who's critical of them. And I mean that anyone who's critical of them, because they do not give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about me. They don't care if we voted Democrat once in our lifetime, every single time in our lifetime. As if we are criticizing them now, we are a threat to them, and they're gonna want to silence us. It's just as simple as that. So,
and it's what we're going to be seeing. And the thing is, the problem is like you were saying, like I think one of the reasons why we see this historical trend is because when they get into power, they overpromise all of this, the moons, the stars, all this kind of stuff, and they underdeliver so drastically, like they're doing now. They're underdelivering already, and we're barely a month and a half into fucking the Biden administration, and you're already seeing so much voter remorse coming out, either be it the unions, people losing their jobs, the reports coming out saying that if we raise the minimum wage, you're going to see more people lose jobs and actually gain wealth, and it's all going downhill from them. And they're already stopping from the 2,000 stimulus checks to the to 1,400, and we still haven't seen any of that shit.
Yeah,
and the fight with the teachers unions and opening the teacher schools and all of this stuff is just a pile on to the failures of the Biden administration.
And we already know that basically the teachers unions basically now run the country. Like the Biden administration is so beholden to them. They're putting like the teachers unions are putting out like they're assembling out for like these car parades saying how much they don't want to go back to school. Like they're just proving like how unessential they are. They don't essentially. That went off the side. And they don't care about your children. They only think they're going to die because they go back to school. Like, it literally is the stupidest fucking fight that they're having. And not enough people are calling it out. I think there are more and more people who have been calling it out, but it's amounted to nothing. Like people, it's not making any difference. It's not moving the needle.
Right. I don't think it would be.
Oh, God, I needed a little burp right there. So
absolutely sexy.
What?
I said that was absolutely sexy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Shivan S. What do you guys think about the Cotton Romney minimum wage bill? I actually have not been following that at all.
I didn't. I haven't read it.
Have you been following it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't read it or seen it or anything, but it's something good.
We'll look into it, and we might talk about it on the premium episode. So, Senator Simon says that was a burp. It was a under my breath type of burp. Sorry.
He was being respectful to the people.
I was being respect. Yeah. Do you think I want to burp on the podcast? Come on, people got to listen to this shit, and they got to hear me burp and then turn the shit off. I mean, we are at the tail end here, so obviously it's not that bad. Shivan continues to say it would basically set the federal minimum wage to like $10 incrementally by 2025. Wait, $2,225? I know you just did that. And then it will be adjusted every 2 years based on the inflation index. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty good. I think we should have a CBO report out on it.
Well, we do get a CBO report out on it. You're right.
But I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is, as soon as you start coming out with reasonable takes, and everyone's going to call you basically a fucking fascist Nazi. So we gotta
also they're both white.
Yeah. So people are only going to say you need a $15 minimum wage, or else like everyone's going to die. It's literally so cookie cutter. How people are approaching it, because it's not like that at all. People don't adjust for inflation. They also think that $15 is going to cover it, when in fact it's probably going to put more people out of jobs, because you're already seeing people. You're already starting to see a lot more private enterprises and franchises start to automate to try to replace that income. We've seen it over the last 5 years. So, anyways, Eric Halverson says, do you think there will be strong enough backlash to companies like Coke and Under Armour to make other companies reconsider anti-racist training in the future? Those companies are untouchable. And I mean that they are too big to really go after. So I don't think there's going to be a strong enough backlash either way. Like, look, I don't wear a whole lot of Under Armour, but I drink a lot of Coke. And you think I'm going to be switching to Pepsi? Fuck no. Fuck Pepsi.
I don't drink any
straight piss.
Hey, fuck you, first of all, because that's very, very racist against the Middle East, because everyone in the Middle East drinks Pepsi. All the fucking time. All right. And second, the reason why we're not going to see any backlash against this as well is because you have people in the places that are supposed to hold these fucks accountable totally and 100% essentially following this ideology. You have people in the New York Times, Washington Post, fucking HuffPo, fucking every fucking person outside of Fox, Daily Caller, and all this kind of stuff that follow this ideology and think it is true. Every one of these fucking racial theory bitches, pieces of garbage, are people that run the New York Times, that are writing for the Washington Post, or all this kind of stuff. If you had this come out and say, be less black, holy fucking shit, the amount of articles you would have just shoved into New York Times, shoved to this, and it would bring them down.
Well, the thing is, I will say this, because this has happened for so many years, and we don't actually talk about it because obviously both of us are not black, obviously. Well, I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm not black below the waist. I have the smallest dick you'll ever see. Anyways, that was obviously a joke. I'm probably going to get canceled for it, but
I love how big you are, Siraj. I love how
it's the smallest penis you'll ever see. Anyways, when it comes to basically the idea of black people working in the professional world, there has been a concept of them. There has been sort of a external pressure for them to be not as black. And so that has been going on for some time, and it still goes on today, just kind of playing down your blackness. So this is flipped on its head. It's something that Robin DiAngelo of White Fragility, the author of White Fragility, trying to say, try to be less white. Okay, what the fuck does that really mean? basically that's like a broad brushing statement saying that like all white people think a certain way, therefore you have to be less of that. Not all white people think that way, and it's obviously like an assumption that she's making that every single white person thinks this way, even though she's going based on whatever fucking studies that she's made. It's literal. I mean, literally all this stuff. Most people don't even think about it. Because racism isn't a part of their daily lives. For some people it is. But look, I don't think there's going to be a major backlash against Coca-Cola and Under Armour. They're going to continue to preach this stuff because these global corporations, they only care about one thing, and that is the bottom line. They don't care about social justice. They don't care about human rights. They don't care about the Uyghurs. They don't care about black people. They care about making fucking money. And so that's what they're going to do. They're going to do what they think is going to make them the most money. And this is what they think is going to make them the most money because they're on that like social justice-y wave. So it's stupid, but that's what they think they're going to do. So they're going to fucking do it. Just fucking do it. We'll continue to call them out and make fun of them for doing it if they fuck up. So, Faye says, thank you, Faye Baby. Appreciate it. This was a plug for joining your Patreon. I'm really enjoying the premium episode quality content. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Faye.
I think Jay and I have a lot of fun making these premium episodes. And basically we're going to get into some more of the cultural stories that happened this week on the premium episode. Because there's only so much time we can really, learn all this stuff. So divvying it up into 2 episodes has been really helpful for us because we can actually focus a lot more attention and time to the stuff rather than just breezing right through it and not taking and really not doing these stories justice. So appreciate all the Habibis subbing. And I guess we'll take a couple more questions and we'll wrap it up. Mm-hmm. But Jay, I mean, you feel me on that, right?
No, I do, of course. I feel you all the time, baby.
But you feel me, right?
Oh, I feel it, baby. I feel it. And right now, the thing is that the loudest people out there are the ones who are following this fucking dumb shit ideology, and they think that by doing this stuff is that it's going to get them and gain them more goodwill within the public. So they're like, we should do that, make ourselves look like we're the good company, and people would trust us more.
Yeah.
But it's just racist.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is, Janice. It is literally racist. And I hope they get sued out of their fucking asses for it. It won't break them, but I hope they get fucking sued out of their asses for it.
Yeah. And Jay will be right there to clean up those asses.
Oh.
With his tongue.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Nate Beebe says big corporations don't want to be bothered with backlash over being called racist. They have no backbone. That's essentially 100% true. I don't have any
essentially 100%.
more to drink, so I'm just going to drink water. President Mitch says, I just joined the Habibi Bros Patreon and I can't find Jay's nudes. Mitch, thank you for not, thank you for not spilling the beans on that. It's coming. Shut up. Mitch. Okay. Christian says, are you guys straight? Sadly, yes.
I mean,
define
eating an ass.
Straight.
Eating an ass is eating an ass. It doesn't.
Yeah, if you show him,
if it's a juicy ass, it's a juicy ass. I'm not going to say anything.
If it's
anything more or less to that.
If it's a juicy ass, Jay will smash.
I'm straight.
It's insane. I'm actually married. Jay is probably getting close to being married. We'll see what happens. Not that being married means that you're straight, but I'm just saying I'm married to a woman and Jay's dating a woman. So last time we checked, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anthony says, are you getting enough sleep, Siraj? I know Jay likes to keep you up. He likes to keep me up in more ways than one, if you know what I mean. 2 inches up, I should say. Shivan asks, how did this show come to be? Oh, yeah. So Back in April when the pandemic was first raging, I think Jay and I were just like bored, and we're like, you know what? Maybe we should just like start something just for fun, like just like do an Instagram live or something like that and see how it's going. And yeah,
And we did it. That's right. The very
that's how it
first one
started.
was
We literally did an Instagram live. And it was meant to be something that we were just going to test out. And then we hopped on StreamYard. This is the platform we're using. And we just continued doing it weekly. And then obviously we started the Patreon about a couple weeks ago. And now we're doing this twice a week, and it's been a lot of fun. So look, we just wanted to provide something that was counter to what everybody else was talking about. And, you know, we're just two Habibis who are trying to navigate this crazy world and give our takes on things that happen around us. And sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't. Sometimes Jay's a bitch, sometimes I'm a bitch. So it all works
depends
out.
on the story of the week.
Yeah. Nolan says, Siraj, you're starting to sound like a straight white girls on the internet being sadly straight. Robert says, I know the Siraj Hashmi technically didn't say he was straight. I am straight, but he said stray, and technically I am not stray. So I guess that gives you license.
He doesn't stray.
Shot.
He doesn't stray from the word of Allah.
All the Habibis are gonna all the gay BBs are gonna shoot their shot now. So Janice says this insanity got me through the lockdowns and beyond. Well, I'm glad it turned out that way. Ben BB, the listener, says, I'm so happy that it turned into this. Me too. Nick says, I don't even remember how I discovered the HPH, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad you joined.
We're glad you're here, Nate. We love that you're here, Nate.
Appreciate you being here, Nate Beebe. I'm sorry, Nate Beebe is Nate Beebe. This is just Nate.
Yeah, this is Nate.
Face HPH is definitely a product of the pandemic. Essentially 100% true.
100%.
Yeah. And then Anthony says, I'll only find this venture of HPH worth it if you guys find me love. Well, what kind of love are you looking for? Because Jay and I can find you all types of love.
I can give you some Habibi love right now.
Yeah, we'll give you some love right now.
What kind of love are you looking for?
Yeah.
That's a premium episode.
That's for the premium episode. So anyways, so Habibis, I think we'll end it on that. It's been a fun time tonight with y'all. Obviously, prayers continue to go out to Fuzzy and his family. Hope his mom is doing okay. So Fuzzy, if you're listening, let us know that we're all thinking of you, and our prayers go out to you. And again, thank you to all the Habibis who tuned in tonight. Thank you to all the Habibis who subscribe. If you're looking to subscribe, go to patreon.com/Habibi Bros. Check out our premium episodes. Of course, you get access to all the free episodes too. They're all there. And depending on whatever tier you sub to, you get a special role in the Discord server. You get a follow from us on social media, whether it be Twitter or Instagram or both. And there's still a few spots open in our Platinum Habibi tier, where if you sign up, you get to play video games with me and Jay. And I just set up the scheduling, and I'll be sending that out to you ASAP. So Habibis, get in touch with me if you haven't already, particularly the Platinum Habibis, about playing video games with us. And tell us what video games you want to play, because we'll go ahead and cop them and download them, and we'll have some fun. So Habibis, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Jay Kobbe.
And we're the Habibi Bros. Thank you so much for joining us again for another Habibi Power Hour. Love y'all, and peace.